weren't nothing to beat.
Finishes second to Foyt at the Hoosier 100.
The first one I won in '74, I had one hell of a race with AJ, you know, and he had his 4-cam V8 Ford engine in his car, and he had just enough to hold me off down the straightaways. That thing was strong, and I raced him clean and kept doing that. But I knew that if I stayed in his rearview mirror, I might run him out a right rear tire, because we picked the tire for the 500 that year through Goodyear, and I knew if I kept him down that, or his engine might start leaking oil, which it did, and just covered me up. But he had to drop out, unfortunately, and I went on to win the race, my first one.
I was running for a fellow named Teddy Yip in an M16 McLaren at Milwaukee, and this was the second team I ever drove for, probably about my 6th or 8th race. And I'm having my best day to date. You know, I'm running 5th. That was the best I'd ever run in an IndyCar at that point. So I'm all excited and I'm happy. Well, AJ is leading it. So I look up in the mirror and I see him coming up behind me to put a lap on me. So I think, okay, I'll just run my pattern. You know, by the time he gets to me, he'll see where I've been and he'll have a way sorted to get around me by the time he gets there. So he comes up behind me, follows me for a couple corners, goes on, wins the race. I finish 5th. I'm all excited. I'm all happy. I'm a new kid, you know. And so I go to the truck and I go to change, and I come back out to my guys. And they said, "Man, what in the hell did you do to AJ?" I said, "Well, I didn't do anything to AJ." So he just came by here raising heck, said, "You tell that Mears if he ever pulls that stuff on me again, I'm going to stick him in the fence." And boy, my heart starts beating, right? I'm this snot-nosed kid. I don't know what's going on, and the man's mad at me. So I didn't know what to do. So the next time I saw him was at Ontario, and he was signing some autographs. You remember Ontario, you had to walk out underneath the deal to get out to the pit lane. So he's standing there signing some autographs. I thought, oh man, I got to walk right by him. Here we go. I get this over with. So I start by. As I walk by, I pat him on the side and I keep going. And I hear him say, "Hey, Mears." Oh no. Here we go. So I turn around. We walk up to each other, and I'm thinking, what's he going to do next, right? And he goes, "God, we had a hell of a good race the other day, didn't we?"
We had one up at Bryan that was pretty much like this racetrack, and I was fortunate enough to win the stock car race and the IndyCar race, so I would have liked to have been a little younger so I could have ran here too. Impossible one.
I was really disappointed because this is my kind of racetrack. I gave Bruton and Eddie heck for that, and of course Foyt and I were already retired, but I would like to have run here, but I don't think I'd like to run here now.
No? A little too fast for you now?
Well, I don't know if it's too fast, but you know, they don't hire drivers my age anymore.
When I was born, the Second World War started, and we were right in the middle of it. But, you know, if that was a negative, everything else turned out to be a positive, because just by coming to America, I was able to realize the most ambitious dreams that I had about becoming a race driver. And it could have never happened if I would have stayed there in Italy. So I'm very thankful that a big negative became a big positive.
Oh, yeah, it's our Super Bowl. You know, it's the Super Bowl of racing for us, and you know, everybody's got to go there once. If you haven't been there in person, you've got to go see it. It's just a happening, the way the city gets behind it and everything else. You know, when I won my first Indy, I won it my second attempt, and I didn't grow up thinking about going to Indy. You know, I never dreamed of making a living at racing. That was always way out of my league. I never dreamed of an Indy car. We were just racing small dirt cars and stuff and off-road on the weekends for family recreation. So never dreamed of getting into an Indy car until about 6 months before it actually happened. And so when I was fortunate enough to win it as early as I did, I didn't really appreciate what Indy meant. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciated winning it by all means, but I didn't know what it meant. And then, you know, you go a few more years down the road, you get a little older, a little wiser, you start learning more about the history of the Speedway and getting to know all the other drivers and everything and what they've been through. it starts meaning more and more to you all along. So each time got better in that respect. But it's just, it makes you. It can make or break a driver. That's the old saying, and it surely can. But it's just there's no place we'd rather win at, right?
It's because of Roger Penske that I got my first try at an IndyCar. Actually, I was driving sprint cars, and I was looking for a ride in Indy cars, and the Chuck Hulse got hurt, the driving sprints, and he was driving for the Dean Van Lines team, which was one of the top 3 teams in IndyCar at the time. And Roger Penske was slated to be testing that car as a rookie because he was driving sports cars, and somehow because of some business reasons he couldn't make it. So I was second choice, and I got the job, and I never looked back. So and I've been sending Roger Penske Christmas cards ever since.
Well, I was so lucky to get hooked up with Team Penske early in my career, and I got hooked up with Team Penske through Mario because he was going to miss some races, in the Formula One championship, and Roger said, I need a part-time driver to fill in.
I was in Monaco. That's one year where I missed Indianapolis. I was driving for Roger Penske, and you got my ride, and you went out and won, but you never sent me a Christmas card.
Well, don't feel bad. I've never sent anybody one. So.
All right, well,
There you go.
that redeems
you're right.
you.
You're at the same level there, buddy.
All right, okay. The one that I feel really bad about is I crashed Rick. I think it was up in New Hampshire. I was coming out of the pits, and somehow, at least that was my excuse. It was on my blind side, and I went right in his path when he was just booking on the straightaway, and I wrecked him, and I never felt so bad in my life. And that's when I started sending Christmas cards.
That's why I never sent him one back.
Do you know who the 3 winners at Indy were from Kansas?
I do not.
That's a trivia question. I was born in Coffeyville, Kansas. Rick Mears was born in Wichita, and Roger Ward was born in Beloit, Kansas.
Very nice.
I was born in Italy. Whenever you win, I mean, there's nothing like it, no matter what you're driving. The satisfaction is the same. Motor racing is a big family. We have obviously different disciplines at the top, but, we all get together. I mean, we all respect each other. And again, just the fact that the guy that gave me the inspiration to drive, in a lot of these disciplines was next to me, AJ, that, he would drive anything that had wheels on, and I said, if he can do it, and I got to try it too. So as you can see that we just keep sort of bringing up the level of effort with one another. It's, the better the guy next to you is, the harder you have to work to try to see if you can be as good as they are, and that's what it's all about. That's what competition is all about.